when we're transitioning as part of that change, there is an uncomfortable bit where we're not in the old way of doing things and we're not fully into the new way of doing things. We're leaning into a new way of doing things. We're still more familiar with the old way. This came up in a client session this week. The client's been implementing all the changes we've been working on, and the changes are working really well, but they hate it. They hate the fact that they aren't hands-on as much. They know that's where they need to be to do the job that they want to do. But at the moment, because it's new and because it's unfamiliar, it's just not enjoyable for them. And eventually, the more we step outside of our comfort zone, the more we step into that fear zone, the more familiar that gets, then it becomes less of a fear and more of a comfort. And that's where this client is right now. So there's 3 phases of the transformation. The first is recognition. When we start to notice when we're slipping back into old behaviors and old habits, and that can be uncomfortable and frustrating in itself because we recognize that we want to make those changes, but we still fall back into those old patterns of behavior. Phase 2, the transition phase, this is where most people quit, reverting back to those old habits. And eventually, when we keep pushing forward through that fear zone, through where it's uncomfortable, we get into the learning and the growth zone. And that's where we also start to create a new normal. We find ways to make it work for us. Doing the right thing sometimes feels wrong, even when it is completely right, and we just have to trust the process. If it's in line with what it is that you want, and it's the outcome that you want, and the identity of the leader who you want to be, then this is simply the discomfort of that middle of the transformation. We need to keep imagining ourselves as this new identity, and eventually that discomfort becomes more comfortable and we get into that integration phase.